Since the inception of the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, university requirement has largely called for 5 subjects. Mandatory among these are English language and mathematics. Every year, thousands of students run into the cause of either having to resit for not getting credits on English and mathematics or painfully changing career path owing to same. To help modify this narrative, Star Television presents on your screen Learning Garage, a platform that guarantees better performance in English language and mathematics with a team of experienced teachers. To this solution, you all are invited, especially those facing WASC. Learning Garage comes to you on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Repeat broadcasts are screened on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Join host Ali Sonta Kamara.
If you mean such element, then of course we'll say the waters of the world in that regard.
And Babatunde Gaira Lamin on these days to make a world of difference.
Fraction that has a numerator which is less than the denominator, we term it as a proper fraction.
Hello there, I am Sonta and this is Learning Garage. This being the grammar segment, we are proceeding today again with another tense related topic. Okay, last week we spent 2 weeks dealing with tenses. We ended the road to tenses on Monday. Today we are continuing with a tense related topic, and this one has to do with conditional sentences or if clauses. Okay, of course, if you want to sponsor this program, you are open to come. Our doors are open for that. Of course, we are all making efforts to support education in the country in our own ways. So any establishment, institution that of course wants to support this brilliant initiative, okay, we are open for any kind of support to make it sustainable, as of course we are doing, to expand it more, and of course bring in more enviable, of course, things, shall I say, dynamics into the program itself. So we are proceeding today with conditional tenses. Conditional sentences, of course. This is a topic that is tense related. If you have fully understood, ideas around tenses, then this should not be any problem for you actually, because of course components making this topic are largely dependent upon what? Upon tenses. So if you have understood your present tense, past tense, of course your future perfect tense, past perfect tense, if you have had them in mind, well, not only to know their usage, but of course to determine their structure, to be able to see them and then tell, in fact, one element could be to tell whether a component is past tense, present tense. That's is one among the things to consider when we talk of grammar. Grammar is about structure and usage, to determine the structure and to determine again the usage. So of course this topic is tense related, meaning you will only be able to understand it if you understand tenses, because of course that's what it's about. Now, when we say conditional sentence or if clause, we're talking about, of course, one thing will only be made possible if another thing is there. Okay? The result of one thing is only possible if we have another thing. It's about this if aspect, if, conditional, if. One thing will only be made possible if another thing is available. The result of one thing is possible if another aspect of it is of course available. That's the idea about conditional sentence, or if you like, call them if clause in this case. So we have a number of them. We have 4 conditions: condition 0, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3. Okay, condition 0 of course expresses ordinary fact. Condition 1 of course expresses something dealing with the future. Condition 2 is about very unrealistic, okay, something that refers to now. In fact, we have condition 3 is about the past. So condition 2 and of course 3 are unrealistic. Condition 1 and condition of course 0 are the real condition in this case. So we'll proceed. But of course, I want you to pay keen attention to the structure. The structure is what I want you to understand. The structure, the makeup of these conditions. So we begin with, of course, the first one. The first one being condition. We are beginning with condition 0. Okay. Here we have condition and the result. Meaning for every condition, there must be a corresponding result. For every result, there must be a corresponding condition. That's the reality, of course. So, meaning the result is sometimes called consequent clause. Okay? One thing happens, it leads to another thing. Okay? So, the result of one thing, of course, is only possible if we have another thing. So, meaning for all the conditions, we must have condition and results, or, of course, consequent clause. For condition 0, the formula is this. Under the if aspect, we call the condition. Okay? The condition is the aspect dealing with the if. Okay? Under the if aspect, we are to have present simple. We call present tense. Okay? That's it. And of course, under the result, we have to have present simple, again, present tense as well. So, either side, we have to have the same tense. Present simple for the condition, present simple for the result. Example, here we have, if you heat ice, it melt. Heat is present simple under the condition, is the entire condition here. And we have the result or consequent clause, and here we have what? Melt. So, of course, melt and what? And heat are, in fact, the two different present simple, occurrences in these two, of course, separate clauses, of course. So, the condition, meaning the if aspect, we have what? The present simple there, and under the results, we have what? Melt, connoting, again, the same tense. We call this one condition 0. Okay? Try to have this one in mind. Understand the formula making the condition. For condition 0, we should have what? Present simple under the if aspect, and the same thing under what? The result aspect, or the consequent clause. You must, of course, have this in mind. Don't forget, please. So, for the usage, condition 0 is precise fact, and it is true. If we heat ice, it melts. Sometimes, under this condition, we can even omit if and use when. We will say, when you heat ice, it melts. It's possible under condition 0, because condition 0 is what? It's not a real condition. Okay? It is expressing ordinary fact. You see, but understand the element making the two aspects, that in fact, under the condition for condition 0, okay, under the if aspect, we have what? Present simple. And under the consequent clause, the same tense also applies. That is, in fact, the contention. We proceed. Condition 1. The formula for condition 1. Under the if aspect, we have to have what? Present simple or present tense. Under the consequent clause or result clause, we have to have what? The future simple, which is what? The will. The will with any base form verb. We require the will with any base form verb. Okay? The formula is, of course, very, very important. So, under the condition for condition 1, we are to what? Have present simple or present tense. Under the consequent clause or result clause, we have to have what? We have to have future simple, meaning the will. The will with any base form. Will go, will eat, will run, will jump, will smile, will fly, will receive. We call this one, of course, future simple. Okay? So, example, we have here, if you work hard, work in this case what? Is present simple. You will succeed is what? The future simple. Okay? From the if down to hard is what? The condition. From you down to succeed is what? The consequent clause. The essence has been to be able to determine what kind of term should be here and what, of course, will be here again. So, under condition 1, Under condition 1, for the condition, we are to have what? Present simple, meaning with the if. The if aspect of the entire sentence, we are to have what? Present simple. Okay? The verb-like structure supposed to be about present simple. Under the consequent clause, we are to have future simple. Will do, will imagine, will go, will run, like that. So if you work hard, you will succeed. That an example. So let's now come to the usage. Condition 1 expresses a real condition that refers to the future. Indeed, in this case, if you work hard now, you will succeed in the future. It could be in 3 months' time, it could be in 1 month time, it could be in 5 years' time, it could be in 10 years' time. But of course, this one is expressing a real condition, in fact, as what refers to the future. If you work hard, we have here what? We have here a present simple in this sentence. I mean, aspect of the sentence. Okay? You will succeed. Will succeed, of course, is the future simple. Understand this. The structure is the key aspect here. You have to understand the structure. So when you speak, you don't mix them up. You don't say if you work hard, what? If you work hard, you are going to succeed. If you work hard, you are going to succeed. That is wrong. Should be, if you work hard, you succeed. So you have to understand the structure. Otherwise, you mix them up, and when you do that, you run into grammatical mistakes. Okay? So again, condition 1, under the condition or under the if aspect, what? We requires what? Present simple or present tense. And under the consequence clause or result clause, we require what? We require, of course, the future simple. They will do or will go, will imagine, will believe. These are in fact the elements you have to have in mind when talking about condition 1. Remember, for condition 0, well, what? We are to have present simple under the condition and the same under the consequent clause. That's very key to have in mind. And the usage is, it is expressing ordinary fact. We've said that, of course. We have established as fact in a fine. So let's proceed with the other one. Condition 2. For condition 2, under the if aspect, we regard as what condition, we are to have past tense or past simple. Okay? Under the consequent clause, we have to have what? We have to have future past, the would aspect, not will, the would aspect. The would do, would imagine, would run, would laugh is the, of course, the future past. Under the condition, we have to have past tense in this case. Okay? The structure is, of course, very, very important to have in mind when talking about, of course, grammar in this aspect. Of course, repeating myself because I know it's very, very essential. It is very, very essential. So let's have an example that in fact support this view. If you saw my brother now, you would not recognize him. So here, saw is in past tense. Would and recognize are the components making what? Making the future, the future past in this case. Here it has been negated, having not in between. Okay? So when we say, if you saw my brother now, you would not recognize him, we are talking about element referring to something now. Okay? Let's say, for instance, I hardly see your brother. It is not my practice to see your brother. Probably he stays far away from where, in fact, I live. So we only meet by chance. Probably in a year we meet just once or even twice a year. So it's very hard to come by him. So we would say, because of this kind of difficulty, it's so very rare, not common to see your brother. Of course, we require what? The past tense under the if aspect, and we require the future past. Okay? For example, if somebody says, of course, you hardly see somebody always, and you have been given a mandate. In fact, if you see this person, please give him something for it. And you will say, well, I hardly see this person. You say, if I saw him tomorrow, I would give him the money. See, if I saw him, you don't say if I see him tomorrow. Should be if I saw him, because of course, a person is hard to come by. You only meet the person by chance. Okay, you require the past tense under the if aspect. If I saw him tomorrow, I would, WOULD. If you not say if I see him tomorrow, I will give him, is wrong. It should be, if I saw him tomorrow, I would give him. The structure is very, very important to have in mind. So for condition 2, we have past tense under the condition of the if aspect. We have future past under the consequent clause or without clause, and that's it. So now the usage. Condition 2 expresses an unreal condition that refers to the present, now. Something that is, of course, you do. Let's just, we do, of course, replace the was with, were. Okay? In this condition 2, we replace was with were. You know, we speak of condition 2 when we are talking about something that is difficult to happen. Okay? It will happen, but very difficult to happen, for instance. And sometimes hypothetical inspection, something that, of course, will hardly happen, we're kind of just in fantasy, kind of. So, of course, I am not an angel. So, I am now imagining if I am one, what I would do. So, I will say what? If I were an angel, I would fly, because I would not be an angel. If I were an angel, I would fly. I will not say, if I were an angel, I will fly. No, I would fly. If I were an angel, I would fly. If I were you, I would do it. You don't say, if I were you, I would have gone there. Wrong again. See, if I were you, I would go there. Okay, if I'm not you. So that cannot be. So hypothetical statement, something that is hard to come by, kind of. So example here we have what? If I were rich, I would lend you the money. If I were rich, I would. So under the if aspect we have the were. So the were is replacing the was. You cannot say if I was rich, because it's hypothetical, something that is unreal. It cannot happen. You see, we have it again, would lend in this case. You don't say will lend. You don't say will lend. If I were rich, I will lend. No. If I were rich, I would lend you the money, for instance. That is, of course, condition 2. Please, pay attention to the structure. I am being so keen about you having time with the structure. It's very essential. Grammar is all about structure and usage. Okay? So we proceed to condition 3. Condition 3, under the condition or the if aspect, we are to have past perfect. Past perfect tense, that is what? Had done, had eaten, had flown, had run, had taken. So that's what we call it, the past perfect, the had aspect. Under the consequent clause or result aspect, we are to add future perfect conditional, meaning the would have done, would have sung, would have run, would have taken, would have flown, would have imagined. So would have is called the future perfect conditional. So under the result, we are to have this kind of tense. Remember, having the structure in mind is so essential that when you speak correctly. When you write, you do same. You see? Otherwise, you mix them. And one reason why we are bringing it up, we are, of course, bringing the lesson to you, because we see people misuse them always. They will say, if I were you, I would do it. If I were you, I would have gone there. You see, they mix them up, of course, going into mistakes at that. So one reason why we are, in fact, trying our best to let you know, in fact, they are like this. It is, in fact, we want you to sound better. So if for condition 3, under the condition or under the if aspect, remember, we are dealing with conditional sentence, meaning if the result of one thing will only be made possible if other thing, of course, is available. That's what we refer to as condition. We require the if in this case. See, we require if in this case. Remember, knowing what tense a condition carries is very essential to sounding correct. So, for example, if I had got a letter from Abu yesterday, I would not have worried so much. If I had got a letter from Abu yesterday, I would not have worried so much. So, in this case, we have what? We have had got. Had got is, in fact, the past perfect under the condition and would have worried in the consequent clause is the future perfect conditional. You see, so of course we have here had got, so very clear, under the condition or under, shall I say, the elements having what, the if, of course, if, not if. And of course we have what, the word and the have and the worried. Okay, we call this one what? Future perfect conditional. It's very easy. Just add the would and the have, and any past participle would have come, would have sung, would have run, would have imagined, would have flown, would have taken, would have, you call them up a number of them. So that's the structure of the future perfect conditional. For the past perfect, you require had, had taken, had flown, had imagined, had hidden, had risen, had forbidden, for instance. We call this one past perfect. So under the condition for condition 3, okay, the terms we of course require will be what? In fact, the past perfect. For the consequent clause or the aspect is what? Is the future perfect conditional. The would and have and any other element of the verb. That is the usage. That is the structure. Let's now come to the usage. Condition 3 is unrealistic because it refers to the past. Condition 3 is unrealistic because it refers to the past at that. So grammar is all about knowing the structure and knowing the usage. We've come away from the structure and now we are on to the usage. The structure has been having past perfect with the if and having what? The future perfect conditional under the consequent clause. That one's supposed to be in your mind. We proceed. So now there are circumstances in which in fact we will omit the if, and we will of course invert the subject with the add aspect. There are circumstances we will omit if. For instance, if I had known him, I would have given him the money, for instance. We will omit the if. We say what? Had I known him, I would have given him the money. We call that one inversion. We will omit the if. So for condition 3, we are at liberty to do so. Can omit the if, and of course we will still sound better that omitting the if and what? We will of course remain, we will of course invert the subject with the verb. So see here, if I had known the truth, I would have acted in a different way. If I had known the truth, I would have acted in a different way means the same as had I known the truth, okay, I would have acted in a different way. You see, the subject as what? As in fact exchange places what? With the verb had. We call this had the operator, okay? When we call it the entire activity is called inversion. So when we ask question, normally it appears as if we are asking question, but we are not, of course. When we ask question, the subject exchanges place with the verb. Imagine, for instance, I am coming home. I am coming home. I, subject, am coming, the verb, home. Okay? When we ask a question, the operator comes first. In this case, am. Am I coming home? Fine. But of course, we are not asking question. So of course, the operator, of course, is still first, but it is not in question form. It appears one. But of course, when we omit the if, that's what happens. But have the structure in mind. Very, very essential. We proceed with, again, this issue of if. In entirety, in the entire aspect dealing with what? With conditional sentences, or if clause, if you like. We will what? Omit if. And in fact, in place of that, what we use in case, we use should, we use provided. We will omit if or if you like. And what? We use in case, we use should, we use provided. So imagine here we have what? I will call you if I need help. So we will in fact replace if with the following I've given you: in case, should, and provided. I'll call you if I need help, it will also sound as what? I will call you in case I need help. I will call you should I need help. I will call you provided I need help. So provided should, don't say should or should, it's should. And of course in case, fine. So in case, should, and provided, in fact, are convenient replacements for if. Okay? So let's now look at some past questions regarding conditional sentences. Remember, if you haven't got grip of the structure, you better have, let's just kind of swing through them again to let you actually have in mind. So we say condition 0, under condition we have what? We have present tense. Under the consequent clause, same thing. Okay? For condition 1, we have what? We have present tense. For the consequent clause, we have what? We have just simply will. For condition 2, we have what? Past tense. Under the result, we have future past. That's it. For condition 3, we have what? We have what? We have past perfect. Past perfect for the condition aspect, the if aspect. And we have what? We have the future perfect conditional for the result or consequent clause. Let that be in your mind. Very essential. So let's now go to past questions. What's past questions? Beginning with what? November 2015. Private was. Now, if the policeman hadn't shown me the way, you see, if the policeman hadn't shown me the way, yeah, you see, of course, we have hadn't shown me the way, so very explicit. You see, so now what? We are dealing with what? Condition 3, saying hadn't shown. We have a structure. If plus what? Past perfect. We have the add aspect here. So it's what? This one is about condition 3. So any verb occupying this space have to do what? The would aspect. I've got to do with the would aspect. So if the policeman hadn't shown me the way, I dash have gone astray. So A will know, of course, not use will in this case, because we are dealing with what? Condition 3. B shall know, C should know, and of course, so very explicitly and by default, D is our answer. So if the policeman hadn't shown me the way, I would have gone astray. So D is our answer. Okay. 2. If I dash your mother, I would call the police. Again, you see, yeah, in fact, we have what? We have the would call in this case. So would call has given us some clue regarding what element, what kind of verb tense that will fall, what kind of verb tense, we'll use, okay, to occupy, in fact, the if aspect. Would call give you what? Gives you an impression of condition 2. Condition 2, the formula is under the if aspect, we require what? We require past tense. And under the consequent clause, we require what? The would aspect. Would. And here we have what? The would call. So, of course, whatever to fall, whatever we require to occupy this space, supposed to be in past tense. And A, we have what? We have been, no. B, we have am, worst case. C, we have will, no. Of course, we are in fact never to use will with if, never. And B, we have what? Were. Fine, past tense. If I were your mother, I am not your mother. Of course, it's hypothetical. It's not possible. So what we require? We require condition 2. You see, if I saw him tomorrow, I would. You see, remember that one. The person is hard to come by, okay? So if I were your mother, I cannot say if I were. W-E-R is not where. It's were. Where is W-H-E-R-E. The where, okay? W-E-R-E is were. If I were your mother, I would call the police. And of course, this is fine here. If I were your mother, I will call the police is fine. Of course, because we understand the structure, it's so very easy for us to arrive at the correct answer. So we proceed. If your argument is not strong enough, the is underscores a lot. So the if gives us an impression of the fact that we are dealing with condition 1. Condition 1, under the condition, we require what? We require present simple, and under the consequent clause or result clause, we require what? We require the will aspect. The will do, will run, will imagine, like that. Okay, so we go. So if your argument is not strong enough, the is has given us a clue about the fact that we are dealing with condition what? 1. So whatever verb tense or whatever verbal aspect occupy this space, of course, we require the will aspect. So we if your argument is not strong enough, you dash your claim to your father's property, and of course we have A, had forfeited. No, we are not dealing with condition 3. B would forfeit. No, we are not talking about condition 2. C will forfeit. It's fine. We are on to our condition 1. Have forfeited. No, so we'll forfeit. If your argument is not strong enough, you will forfeit your claim to your father's property, of course, you see. So having this structure in mind is so very valuable as to helping us arrive at the right answer at that. So of course we proceed. If Musa had woken up earlier, in fact gives us a clue about condition 3. Okay, the add aspect. So under the consequent clause, what we require? We require the would have aspect. So if Musa had woken up earlier, he dashed breakfast. June 2018, last year. So of course, here we have what? We have shall have missed. No, shall have missed. Out of the case, we require the would have aspect. B, ought not missed. No. B, we have would not have missed. Fine. Would not, we have the would, we have the have, is fine. Would not have missed breakfast is fine, and D, may have missed. No. So because we have the structure in mind, arriving at the answer, is no problem. Next, if she dash your boss, would you insult her? If she dash your boss, would you insult her? So of course what? We have the would. Would helping what? The verb insult in this case. Okay? So this kind of tense has given us a clue about what? About condition 2. Condition 2, under the if aspect, we require past tense, and under the consequent clause, what? We require the would, okay? Only the would and verb, like that. So here, if she dash your boss, would you insult her? November 2018, last year again. B, we have what? Is. If she is your boss, no, wrong. B, if she would. I told you we are never to use the will and would after if, in fact. It's very wrong. And C, we have were. W-E-R-E, were. Why is fine. So if she were your boss, would you insult her? Is fine. If she was, no, is the default. So of course, our answer is what? Option what? C. Because we know what? It is condition what? 2. So we come to the last question. If I dash your father, I would call the police. Again, past question. Now we have for the consequent clause, we have what? Would call. So we have would call. What do we require? We require what? We require past tense to occupy this place to fulfill the demand what? To fulfill the demand of condition 2. We of course know condition 2 under the if aspect, we require what? We require past tense, and under the consequent clause, we require what? We require the would aspect. And thankfully, having the would aspect under here, in fact, has given us a hint about what to come here. Meaning, we require past tense if after the if. So if I dash your father, I would call the police. A, we have what? Have been, no. B, am your father, no. Remember, it's about hypothetical statement, something that is not possible to happen. Of course, D, we have what? Were. So this is our answer. If I were your father, I am not your father, and I will not be your father, I would call the police at that. So that brings us the end to the questions on what? On the conditional sentences. Something close to that, of course, will be the wish clause. Quickly, let's proceed. When using wish, we are still wish. I wish, whatever. I wish. So, what tenses to use the wish? Remember, let me give you this. Now, if we are talking about the future when we refer to the future, when we use wish, of course, wish, W-I-S-H, wish. Wish. When we use the word wish, okay? And when we want to refer to the future, something to happen anytime before now, what? We use what? The future past, the would aspect. Would. Okay? Example or example. Whatever you choose is fine. Example is fine. Example is fine. Example is fine. But of course, I've got used to example instead of course, saying example at that. So if I wish you would come back soon, future, not now, it could be in of course, in 2 days time, okay, my wishful thought would be about something having to do with the future, of course. So I wish you would come back soon, the future. I wish you would come back soon. That's it. Okay, so we have what? We have the would aspect indicating the future using what? Wish in this regard. Next, when we are referring to the present now using wish, what do we require? We require past simple, of course. Again, hypothetical statement, of course. I wish you stayed with me now. It's not possible. For instance, if a person has got to go to America, and of course, his flight is around, of course, and wishful thoughts. I'm just saying, I wish you stayed with me now. It's very impossible. You don't say, I wish, you stay with me now. Stay, S-T-A-Y, no, S-T-A-Y-E-D, past tense. So I wish you stayed with me now. You are referring to now, but of course I put something not possible, like we will say. Now, if we use wish and in fact are referring to the past, what do we require? We require the past perfect, meaning the had and any past participle. Example, we have what? Yeah, well, we have the had left. I wish you had left so early yesterday. Of course, wishful thought. But of course, he never did that. I'm just wishing, of course. I wish he hadn't left so early yesterday. Of course, he did. I am just wishing, of course, that, of course, I'm wishing, of course, the opposite in this regard. So, we have established facts regarding two different topics that are tense related. Okay? We are going for a short break. When we come back, we will finish up the class with something very different. Okay, remember, we are promoting education. If you so like, we are open to sponsorship. If you want to sponsor, the line is open. You come to us. Of course, we'll discuss terms. Okay.
Since the inception of the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, university requirement has largely called for 5 subjects. Mandatory among these are English language and mathematics. Every year, thousands of students run into the cause of either having to resit for not getting credits on English and mathematics or painfully changing career path owing to same. To help modify this narrative, Star Television presents on your screen Learning Garage, a platform that guarantees better performance in English language and mathematics with a team of experienced teachers. To this solution, you all are invited, especially those facing WASC. Learning Garage comes to you on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Repeat broadcast are screened on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Join host Ali Sonta Kamara.
If you mean such element, then of course we'll say the waters of the world in that regard.
And Babatunde Gaira Lamin on these days to make a world of difference.
Action that has a numerator which is less than the denominator, we term it as a proper fraction.
Welcome back. Of course, we were talking about conditional sentence and of course which clause. We looked at some past questions. Let's now run up our class with something very, of course, different. We are talking about the other aspect, made from versus made of. Made from versus made of. Try to do versus try doing. Amount of versus, of course, number of. We do use one. Okay, the table is made of wood. The table is made from wood. Where are we? What is right? The table is made of wood and the table is made from wood. What should we use? Should we use, of course, the table is made of wood or the table is made from wood? Now, when, if the product, when something is of course manufactured, if from the beginning of making that thing on to the end of making it, the source from which it is made, the source from which the thing of course is, the source is composed of, if from the beginning of making the component on to the end, the source does not lose sight, or shall I say, still of course has semblance, still bear physical semblance, we'll say what? We'll use what? The made of. Like for instance, if you see loggers go to the bush, they fell, of course, log trees. They would, of course, cut those trees into logs. The carpenter buy some pieces of that log. Of course, makes some furniture from it. Let's say table. You realize that the table is still, of course, wood in this case. From the beginning of making the table onto the end of making the table, of course, the issue of the table being wood still remains the same thing. We'll say what? The table is made of wood because the source is still visible. There is still clear semblance of what the source. The original item that the table is made, the table is of course catered with, is still of course visible at that. So of course we say the table is made of wood. But of course, paper, if I say for instance, paper is made from wood. You realize that it has undergone several processes to an extent that the finished product has got no physical, resemblance, has got no physical resemblance as to the original source. Okay, actually paper is something coming from wood, we'll say. Okay, but of course, from the beginning of making this paper onto the finished product, okay, and the finished product hasn't got any site, shall I say, component that will give us clue that in fact this paper, of course, comes from wood. So we'll say what? The paper is what? Is made from wood. Paper is made from wood. The house is made of bricks, if you can see the brick. From the beginning of making the house until the end, if that is still brick, of course, say what? The house is what? Made of what? Brick. We all have zinc house. Of course, palm body, we call it. Okay? So that's the reality between the made of and made from, the difference between them. Okay? We come to try to do and try doing. When we say try to do, when somebody try to do something, try to eat, try to play, try to dance, try to imagine, try to laugh, try to walk, for instance, it means that it has negative idea, negative connotation, something that has got to do with some amount of failure, something you made effort, but of course has some clue, some idea about, some hint about failure at that. You see, the climber tried to climb the mountain, meaning, of course, there are a number of, there is difficulty, of course, linking what? With this issue of climbing. So the climber tries to climb the mountain, let's say Mount Everest. It's very difficult to climb. So the idea about try to is something, has got something to do with what? Failure. Something people, of course, make effort, but of course couldn't what? Achieve success at that. But if you try with ing verb, try eating, try doing, try playing, try laughing, for instance, try whatever, okay, that one is about experiment. It's so very to do. If you say try to, okay, try to, and with any other verb, it means it's about something that you find very difficult to do, or if you even do, sometimes with little success. But if you have try with ing verb, try eating, try doing, try whatever, it's something you are experimenting. It's not easy to do at all. Okay? Now, for instance, your mother is, has got very angry with you for whatever, failing to do something for her, for instance. So of course she is very angry. Somebody say, "But try calling her. It's fine. Don't say try to call her. Try calling her." Your mother is angry with you. Say what? Try calling her, because doing the calling is very simple. But try to call her. No, it's not difficult. So pick your phone, dial your mother's number, and then get to her. It's so very easy to do. So you should be what? Try calling her. Something easy to do, you should try calling, or try whatever ing. Something very difficult to do, and sometimes when you do, it comes away with difficulty and of course failure. You say what? Try to, with any of course base form verb at that. Next, we come to amount of and a number of. When we use amount of, we use it of course with non-count noun, uncountable noun, mass nouns, meaning nouns that we cannot count. Okay, large amount of salt, amount of sugar, we cannot count sugar. Okay, don't say I saw a large amount of people at the party. People is countable. We are not to use amount of with people, but of course we use number of. Number of is the phrase we use what? With countable element. I saw a large number of people at the party, but I have a large amount of what? I have a large amount of water at home. It's fine. You not say I have a large number of water, no, of course. So whatever you cannot count, use amount of. Whatever you can count, use a number of. Okay? So we come down to, some words I believe people have difficulty pronouncing, but of course we pronounce, but we have difficulty having not to know what actually sounds right. The issue of when this wedding, is it Wednesday or Wednesday? Wednesday or Wednesday. Of course, in short, it's Wednesday. It's always Wednesday, not Wednesday. It sounds, by spelling, it sounds as if it's what? Wednesday, but of course, in reality, it's what? It's Wednesday. Next is the issue of, is it vegetable or vegetable or vegetable? Vegetable or vegetable or vegetable? The answer is what? Vegetable. Not vegetable or vegetable, but vegetable. It's vegetable, okay? Of course, this is how we bring down the curtains in today's program. I am Santa. Again, if you want to sponsor this program, we are open to it. Contact us, we'll discuss terms, okay? And I have been your presenter, Santa Kamara. Until next week, Monday, Tata.
Since the inception of the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, university requirement has largely called for 5 subjects. Mandatory among these are English language and mathematics. Every year, thousands of students run into the cause of either having to resit for not getting credits on English and mathematics, or painfully changing career path owing to same. To help modify this narrative, Star Television presents on your screen Learning Garage, a platform that guarantees better performance in English language and mathematics with a team of experienced teachers. To this solution, you all are invited, especially those facing WASC. Learning Garage comes to you on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Repeat broadcasts are screened on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Join host Ali Santa Kamara.
If you mean such element, then of course we'll say the waters of the world in that regard.
And Babatunde Gaira Lamin on these days to make a world of difference.
Action that has a numerator which is less than the denominator, we term it as a proper fraction.